So there's something we call the stakeholder engagement assessment matrix. So this is one of the data analysis techniques I mentioned earlier while we were looking at the ITTO chart. So this data analysis technique is used in stakeholder management to compare between the different engagement levels of stakeholders and the desired engagement levels required for successful project delivery. Because you understand that after you have been able to classify your stakeholders, you would identify the ones that are not at the desired level. For the project to succeed, some stakeholders necessarily need to be leading. For example, you want to build an ERP solution for an organization. Half of the top management are neutral. That's a dangerous sign. Because for the success of an ERP implementation, you need a lot of high-level buy-in. You need a lot of high-level, champions on the project. So, by the time you now when you do your stakeholder engagement assessment matrix, you'll be able to now know, okay, the chairman, what is the current level of interest in the project or level of engagement in the project, and what is the desired level of engagement on the project. So if you find out there's a difference, so that will define what the strategies you put in place to engage the person and to bring the person up to the desired level of engagement. So stakeholders can be identified either by name or by role, that is in the assessment matrix that you want to draw. So key individuals, should be identified by name individually. But some others that might not be too key, you can use a large group for them. For example, potential customers. They are stakeholders too. You don't necessarily have to now go out start listing all your potential customers one by one. So you could just lump them together. So some of your stakeholders, when you are doing an assessment matrix, can be lumped together. Some you have to identify them individually, depending on the level of influence. So use the stakeholder register to identify who should be listed, and then use the results to update the register. So when you have your assessment matrix, you use letter C to identify current level of engagement. Use letter D to indicate the desired level of engagement, and then you could use others too. So this is an example of your assessment matrix. You can see here that we have unaware, resistant, neutral, supportive, leading. That's the progression from the least level of engagement to the highest level of engagement and support. So you list your stakeholders on, in the left column. You list the level of engagement on the top row, and then you now start mapping. Stakeholder 1, what is the level, the current level? C shows current level of engagement. D shows the desired level of engagement. So from this you can see that stakeholder 1 is currently unaware, but for the success of the project, it is highly desired that stakeholder 1 should be supportive. From here you can see that stakeholder 2 is currently neutral, but it is desired that stakeholder 2 should be supportive. From here you can see that stakeholder 3 is currently supportive, and that is what is required. That's what is desired for stakeholder 3. Are you able to do this for all your stakeholders? For example, from this you can now know that, okay, we want stakeholder 1 to be supportive. What do we need to do to change the status from being unaware to being supportive? So your assessment here will define how you would structure the kind of engagement with each stakeholder.